Alright, here's the problem. You see, for the longest of time, I always wanted to make a high voltage that is enough for my satisfaction, like a bigger, louder, and more a badass kind of type. But instead of all this time, I'm able to make these. So to solve this problem, I need to build a device that is capable of generating very, very big amount of high voltages. And according to internet, is particularly called a Marx generator.
Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe.
Alright, jumping into it, this is the schematic of the device. It mainly consists of three components. Okay, let's go through them one by one. First up, a capacitor. Since I'm applying about tens of thousands of voltages,
And lesson learned from my previous trial. So yeah, go ahead and watch this video.
I need a capacitor that will be able to withstand such kind of high voltage. And there's no better choice than using a water capacitor. And also I made it a while back, so yeah. You can go ahead and watch it. For those of you who didn't watch it, let me show you how you can make your own capacitor. All you have to do is bring a jar of water and put some salt into it. And then all you have to do is just mix. And it's gonna take a while. Yep, it's very salty. And then we're gonna bring two jars or a flask or whatever you call them. One is bigger and one is smaller. Then all we have to do is just put some water on the bigger first. And then we put some electrons and a high voltage source, which is my old ZVS driver, with a flyback transformer, of course. Now when I turn this on, it makes a loud noise, which means it's functional. And also be careful because you do not want to touch this thing. Alright, next up, resistors. And similarly, since I'm dealing with a high voltage and resistance don't do exactly well because they're changing voltages. So we're gonna build our own, and that is similarly by using water. Again, here's how you can do it. All you need is this IV tube or a polypropylene tube, I think. We're gonna cut it and we're gonna fill it in water. And then we're gonna put on both sides a metal. Then we made our own resistor. Now if I immerse this tube inside this water, air comes out and it will be full in water. So I'm gonna hold one end just like this and then put it out. And then after that, I'm gonna insert one layer on this side, a bigger nail, so water does not leak. And on the other side, I'm gonna put the same nail just like this. So for the spark gap, I'm gonna be using these.
Alright, montage time. I'm gonna pour in salt water onto these cups. And then insert the resistors in each consecutive cups. For example, the inner into the inner and outer to the outer. The working principle of a Marx generator is relatively simple. A Marx generator charges the capacitors in series, and then each of the capacitors are charged with the same voltage, and then when the capacitors reach their limit, zap, the spark gap closes and a high voltage buildup occurs.
Okay, now here's the connection. Oh, and by the way, this water has now a different color because I let the nails sit in the water, which, well, made them rust. Alright, let's turn this on and see the beauty. You see that? Click. That is huge.
So yeah, the voltage is slightly higher than my original power supply. The original high voltage that I was supplying was in terms of tens of thousands, at least up to 60,000, I believe. But now, measuring that the Marx generator just generated about like a 2-inch spark, which is about, when you do the numbers, 5 centimeters. And according to the sources on the internet, for every centimeter there's about 30,000 volt. So 5 centimeter and 30,000, it becomes, well, I don't believe the number either, which is about 150,000 volts. Yeah, I believe that's the amount of power it got out.